I'm Len Knight.
My name is Toby Rudolf.
I don't know what I'm doing.
What are we doing?
We are stuck in the middle.
A Stuck in the Middle podcast. It's the shit.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
You're an idiot for not watching it. Welcome to another episode of Stuck in the Middle. My good friend Toby, Eric Rudolf.
Thanks, Liam.
And a very special guest today, Australian icon Shannon Noll. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks, boys.
Wow. What about a prestige guest we got here? How you going?
Yeah, don't know about that. How you going, fellas? All right?
Yeah, going all right. Doing the best.
Never been better than right now, actually, interviewing an Aussie great like Shannon Noll, I must say.
Mate, big fans.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Really do.
No worries. Whereabouts are you at in the world, mate? You got your nice records behind you there, some nice little sort of homey little vibes going on. Whereabouts are you sort of located, Shannon, these days?
Yeah, mate. At the moment, I'm at home. We're at our property up here on the Northern Rivers, mate, up near Lismore.
Ah, very nice. You a surfer as well, my friend? You get out there in the waves, get in the green room, or what?
No, I'm hopeless, mate. I'm a country boy through and through, mate. There's too many sharks in that big water for me.
A bit of red hot up there, eh?
Yeah, stay in the pools. There's animals in there. It's all good stuff in there. I wanted to ask, mate, you sort of grew up in Orange, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right? In sort of Central West region?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I actually grew up in a place called Tullabajeel. I was 20 k's out on a farm called Tullabajeel, and it's about 50 minutes or 40 minutes from Condobolin, then Condobolin's 100 k's to Parkes, then Parkes 100 k's to Orange, so a bit further west. But you meant around
Yeah, Wikipedia done us dirty there, mate. I think I might have to send a few messages in there. Edit yours like someone edit mine.
Yeah, I was actually born in Orange Base Hospital, so that's...
that makes sense. Makes sense. Where'd you go from there, mate? You're obviously a country boy. What happened? What was your life like? Where'd you end up? How'd you get onto the scene, onto the world scene?
Yeah, well, I just grew up, obviously just in the bush like you do, mate. You play, footy in the winter, cricket in the summer, and all that sort of thing. So, and then just lived and worked on the farm, and then, but Dad had a family band when he was a young bloke with his two sisters and his brother. And so that was the sort of beginnings in the music for us. Dad didn't play much on the farm or anything like that. I think it was just a thing they did as kids. But my brothers got started in the music stuff when I was about probably 8 or 10, I suppose, mate, guys. And but the middle brother learnt drums and the older brother played a lot of guitar and sang. So that was so the boys used to rehearse out in the shearing shed. When I was a young bloke, so I'd sort of go over there and watch them rehearse and that sort of stuff, and that was sort of the introduction, I suppose you'd call it. And then I moved up to Sydney for a little while, playing Aussie rules for a while, and because I sort of grew up about 50 k's from where all the Dannahurst came from, the Northern Riverina.
Mm-hmm.
So played a bit of footy, and then started playing cafes and that sort of thing with my brother while I was up there, and then went home and started just a bit of a band with some guys from town. A teacher turned up, and we didn't have a guitarist, so a teacher turned up and her boyfriend was a guitarist from Newcastle, so it's sort of the hole that we had right there about that time. And I'm the youngest, and the middle brother, he came back and started playing drums for us, and then we just did B&S's and pubs and all that sort of thing for about 6 years, just touring around the bush.
How were those 6 years going to B&S's and going to all those balls and Spencer's events? I can imagine it was a fair bit of fun.
Oh, it was great, mate. Yeah. We played one that we had. It was like the old Roadhouse movie with the cage across the front.
Dangerous. Nice.
They're pretty wild. They're pretty wild events. They were. They were bachelors fix the balls, but a lot of fun, mate. Yeah, we had some of the times of our life. Just playing those sorts of gigs, when we were all young blokes and having a blast.
That's awesome, mate. So what, music was always a dream, I guess? Like when I went to school, music was always the goal in the end, or you just sort of fell into it, loved it as a hobby, and then sort of...
Yeah, probably more the second one, mate, actually, because, my brothers and that played a lot of cricket. Dane played first grade in Sydney and played a lot of rep cricket and that sort of thing. So we've always played rep cricket and rep footy and all that out in the bush. And my eldest brother, he pre-seasoned at the Swans there for a little while, and then went back to Wagga Tigers, which is arguably the best comp in the state with RFL. So it was always sort of sport orientated, mate, to be honest. And then we started playing a bit of music, and from 12ish, I suppose, I started playing guitar a little bit when watching the boys in the band. and then that sort of ended up being the thing that sort of really kicked off for us. So I sort of always had some, just I suppose, some belief in myself with music, whereas with the other sports and that sort of stuff, the boys sort of probably had the better of me a little bit and stuff like that. But when music came along, I dived into it, and I absolutely found my life journey, if you know what I mean.
Awesome.
Yeah, unreal. So, I mean, I'm sure you've been asked this question dozens, hundreds, if not thousands of times. So 2003 rolls around, as Liam and I like to call it, the great Australian robbery of reality television.
Awful occurrence.
Yeah.
History, the country's probably just recovering still, I think. Still in mourning.
I agree. So, yeah,
COVID,
mate, how did that entire situation come about? Was that just like, I mean, I'm trying to imagine how Australian Idol first sort of got their advertising out there, do you want to be the next Australian Idol? Where did you sort of first see that? How did you come about?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy because they had a lot of ads on regional TV about it, but they never actually specified where the auditions were. So it was sort of, and then we're 6 hours from anywhere out there, it's sort of an hour's drive to get some milk, let alone just ducking into town to go and do an audition. So I actually was down in Melbourne picking up my wife. She was down there for her sister's wedding, so they went down for dress fitting, and as it turned out, my sister-in-law, who was always a really big supporter of our music, she said you should. And I'd had a few people like one of my brothers and a couple other people just saying, "Have you seen these ads? This Idol thing? You should go on it." And I said, "I've seen them, but I don't know where the auditions are." So we finally, she got on the computer and found out that they were in Melbourne the following week. So my eldest brother, was coaching the footy club at home, and we'd forfeited twice through lack of numbers. And then I said, I can't do them because we're really struggling. If I don't go home and we forfeit again, they'll kick us out of the comp. They have to make the comp. So I rang my brother who was the coach, and I said, them Idol auditions you're talking about? And he said, yeah. I said, they're on here in Melbourne next weekend, but I've got to go home and play footy. He said, listen, bugger the footy, mate. He said, stay up there and do that. And as it turned out, we needed 15 to field a side, and we only got 13. So if I'd have gone home, it would have been 14, so we would have folded anyway.
What a brother. Your brother steered you back on the path.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, so probably a good thing that I stayed and went to the auditions, I suppose.
Maybe just a little bit instead of helping out the mighty Waggaroos. I think you said it was.
I think your priorities got sorted out real quick. That was
Absolutely, 100%, yeah.
Mate, 2003. So you've gone from just playing a few sort of B&S balls and.
How old were you?
I was 26, and it was really funny because the cutoff for Idol was 27, and I was like 26 and 9 months. So I went and did the first audition, and then turned 27 during the filming while we were in the house. So just skimmed through by the skin of my teeth, I'd say, by the sound of it.
Well, thank God for Australia that happened.
What a ride. What was the ride like, mate? I was about 8 years old when all that was going on, so I don't remember too much. What was it like for you? It would have been quite a ride, all over TV and chasing your dream on a big stage.
Oh, mate, absolutely. It was a wild sort of situation because we were sort of, stuck in the house and all of us, all the contestants, and weren't really seeing a lot what was going on until it started getting towards the end, and the numbers of the contestants got down. Got down to 4 or 5, and then just driving into the recording studios, there'd be people waiting out the front and things like that. So it sort of went from zero to hero pretty quick towards that final ending few weeks there. And then when we got to the Opera House, it was it was pretty mind blowing really with the amount of people that turned up for the finale.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine. I wanted to ask, so obviously you got sort of pretty close, I suppose, at the time with people in the house. You spent so much time together and all that. Are you still friends with the guy Sebastian?
Were you guys tight? Yeah. Was it all a charade? Were you guys stabbing each other?
Was it all a charade?
On the praying that they both fall over? What was going on?
Mate, it was quite funny actually because it was always just the media that sort of pitted us against one another. Because I sort of, when I first met Guy on the show, there were so many amazing singers. It was quite overawing, to be honest. I'd never had a singing lesson, never had a music lesson. Just mucked around the shed playing with the garage band for a start, and then sort of these sort of bush shows and bush pubs and stuff like that. So to arrive there, especially at the audition, there was like 8,000 people auditioned that day. It was bloody crazy. And then as we got into the house and it got down to the 12, I met Guy there in the top 40, and I just thought, oh, fuck, he's going to win this bloke for sure.
Oh, really?
There was one stage there, we were in the lunch line, and he was standing in front of me, and I heard him on the phone. He's going, oh, this bloke from the country's going to win it, I reckon.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's nice.
That's so nice.
Mutual admiration.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, he knows I'm standing behind me. He's taking the mickey, you know what I mean? But then he sort of and never turned around.
He wasn't even on the phone, apparently. Fake phone call.
But the whole competition thing was beat up by the media, mate. We just wanted to support. We supported each other in there because it was such a fairly high pressure situation. We were dead set. There was 10-second delay in the broadcast. So if you dropped the mic or you forgot the words or something, you were dead set screwed. There's no recovering from it. So we all just want the best for each other, and we all want the best out of ourselves and see where it got us. So and as it turned out, it got me all the way to coming first out of all the losers.
You mean to tell me the media weren't reporting completely accurately? I'm shocked.
No, absolutely. Mind boggles.
Mind-boggling stuff. I thought that was, I didn't know you can't believe what you read or hear. Oh, that's crazy.
Absolutely. Who'd have thought that, eh?
Why would you? The world's just upside down.
I wanted to ask you as well, mate. Are you still in touch with Guy? Because we actually tried to reach out to him to get him on the show, but he completely brushed us. So are you still any talks to him at all? Or?
Yeah, mate, I'll put in a good word next time I'm talking to him. Actually, yeah.
We did flip the script. We asked you first, him second. So you come first this time, and then he's obviously in the wind.
Yeah.
We're glad. We like you way more, mate. I'm sure most of Australia does too. So
thanks, boys. I really appreciate it. Really do. That's awesome. Yeah, last time I spoke to him, he was just saying that I should have been a judge on Idol this time around. So he said he was going to talk to some people at Channel 7 for me, but it didn't get up that one. So that was the last time I spoke to him. But yeah, we normally catch up sometimes. It's pretty hard when you sort of just in town touring and that sort of stuff, and because you go to Sydney probably touring maybe once or twice a year, and the rest of the times sort of all over the other states and other territories and that. So, but yeah, we catch up a bit, mate, and he seems to be doing great, I think. So good luck to him.
Oh, that's awesome. You guys still keep in touch?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, it's one of those things you sort of you go through a situation like that, and I think because we did support each other the whole sort of way through, and we always have each other's back a little bit like that,
I love to hear those stories. What happened for you after that? So obviously a big finale, the first loser, robbed. Yeah. What happened after that, mate? 2003. What happened for Shannon Noll?
Mate, I hit the road. I hit the road big time. I think I did 100 shows that first year. The first tour we did was 11 shows in 14 days, driving from Cairns down to Toowoomba. And then it sort of just snowballed on from that. Because, live shows were where it's at, where it was at for me. That's all I'd ever done. All the recording stuff and the studio stuff was all totally foreign. So, as soon as I got the chance, we booked a big tour and hit the road, mate, and just had an absolute blast doing it. I had both my brothers in the band at the time, and we had a real great time on the road. I can't remember much of it, but it was a good time, though,
That's what I was going to ask you, mate. So you were saying before how the B&S balls were a good time and playing all around sort of the Central West region. Yep. How did it compare from that to being an Australian-known commodity playing at these shows? I'm assuming the groupies had teeth this time around.
Yeah. Mate, absolutely. Surely you got to get a win out of it somewhere. It's really crazy, guys. Like there's people lining up around the street as we'd pull into sound check at 6 o'clock, and the show wasn't until 9. So it was a real eye opener, to be honest. Just the amount, because we knew the show had obviously gained a fair bit of traction, but we didn't realise that it was sort of almost a cult like following through with the whole thing. So you know,
It was way bigger back then, eh?
yeah,
That was huge.
Yeah.
Well, that was back before like the internet had bad shows and all sorts of stuff. It was just Australian Idol
Everyone
was it.
really tuned into TV a lot. Yeah.
yeah. And it brought sort of, because it's such a new concept at the time, and it brought a music-based audience to TV screens, which was, you know, the opportunity for a whole new audience out there in the public. So, you know, that touring was obviously an example of that. You know, like shows are selling out that quick that the management and that would put on a matinee show. And so we'd do a show at 6 o'clock, and then a show at 9 o'clock. So
No way.
Wow.
just to accommodate the people that missed out on tickets. So it was really, really hectic those first couple of years.
Going through a few Strepsils, mate, like pumping out 2 shows a night. Walking around croaking for a couple of days. How was the lozenges?
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. I heard about
Sponsorship.
there's like their cortisone tablets. They're sort of like, you know, for your voice, and people who, when you lost your voice completely, you can. It's the last resort to try and save it. And I've heard stories. I think it was the guy who opened the Sydney casino. He flew into Sydney and had no voice whatsoever. So they gave him an injection of cortisone straight into his vocal cords, you know, and he got paid $1 million for that gig. So it's like we were bashing that pretty hard those first couple of years on the road, I'll tell you.
These cortisone's magic works. I didn't know it worked on your voice.
I had no idea, yeah.
Mate, I've got in a couple of AC joints here and there. I'm sure you've got a fair few.
Straight in the throat, though.
Straight in the
Straight in the
throat.
Adam's apple.
I wasn't real keen on getting one of them ones, so I stuck to the tablets, mate. But we got through it all, and had a great time. You know, it all went so quick, but you know,
Cortisone your hairline and mine, and you reckon we can get some growth out of the cortisone.
yeah,
Maybe that could
if
be
it works, let me know, boys, because I'm in a world of good up there. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, well, Shannon's wearing a hat, so
he's obviously
ahead of
hiding
the game.
something. Yeah, I love
Ahead of
that,
the
mate.
game.
Too smart.
Yeah, mate, look, I wanted, so 2003, obviously, you sort of jumped to Australia's, you know, you sort of become a known figure, like I said earlier.
Yep.
You sort of, you know, I think You Got a Lift came out 2009 or 10, sort of around then, and then 5 years later, you become sort of a byproduct of this trolling. That you became a meme. Shannon Noll was robbed, all this, the other. And I remember I had mates who were at Armidale Uni, at University of New England,
Yep.
and I had mates sending me videos of them touching your hand and going, I touched Shannon Noll's hand. I can't believe it. So, like, it was a bit of a weird sort of thing for you. You had all these trolls on the internet,
Big
but
up.
then, yeah, all of a sudden your career just goes beam back up again. So how was that ride for you, mate?
Yeah, it was a really funny time period that, mate. As I started baiting them a bit online, you know what I mean? Like I knew, because they sort of morphed every comment into a structural thing. It started off with a good Aussie colloquialism, larrikin comment like "G'day cobber" or something like that, and then it'd go to "Yale rooter" or something sexual, and then it'd go into asking for something I'd borrowed back. Now I don't know where the hell that started from. Oh, if you can bring the old missus is on me about the mower, if you could bring that back, and everyone was competing to get the highest likes for the comment. So I started baiting them a bit, and without buying into it too much, just to keep it rolling a little bit, you know. So I got a horse, and we went down to visit this horse because I had it on adjustment down towards Wollongong there because I was living in the Shire. And I said, oh, great to see me, filly. You know, it's just a shame I didn't have time to ride her. And they're going like, yeah, I bet that's not the first filly you've ridden, Nosey. Every comment or post that I put up, everyone would just go hell for leather to try and get the most favoured comment in it. So it made it, but it really did. You know, I did a gig at a pub. It's a rock and roll sort of place in Newtown there, and the numbers were pretty poor. And then 12 months later, we sold it out twice. You know what I mean? But it was sheerly through that growth and that snowball effect that happened online with the comments. And you know, no one was ever really malice. They were just taking the piss and having a good laugh. You know. But so I'll tell you what, some of them were bloody brilliant. If you want to, there's some good marketing guys out there. I'll tell you what, we were going to start reaching out to people, going, so what other ideas you got?
Bring it back. Bring back the trolls.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, you were right. It sort of turned everything around there for a while, which was really good.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm just disappointed. There was one time where I could have come to a show when I was about 19 or so. It was around 2015-16, but I had footy on and I couldn't make it. And I was getting videos sent to me left, right and centre. And I just had the worst FOMO ever. So, but now look at me, achieving the dream.
Oh,
talking
no,
on
look,
my
we've
podcast.
come full circle, mate.
I did it. I did it. Yeah, mate. Look, what's sort of going on for you now these days, Shannon? That's all sort of in the past now. I'm going to try and put a word out to all the people in Armidale to get the trolls back. But if that doesn't happen, what's sort of the go for you now, my friend?
Yeah, mate. I released a couple of singles over the last sort of 6 months. Had a pretty big year, just promotion-wise, last year with Mars Singer and a couple of big advertising campaigns with Uber Eats and KFC, which I've never in my whole career had two nationwide ad campaigns going at the same time. So that was it was a real great thing just to keep your face out there, I suppose. I think I'm on a few buses and stuff like that in Sydney as we speak, which just because it's just about relevance, mate, and trying to keep out there. You always release a new album every so often, and then new singles as well. But we're doing a bit more rockier stuff this time around, and just finishing off a new album at the moment. And then we're gonna, because it's 20 years now, so we're going to do an anniversary tour at the start of next year. We're actually thinking about going back to this place called Capella, which was the very first gig that I did after the show, and it's just a tiny little town with a cafe and a pub and a rodeo rink, and 4,500 people turned up the first time round. And I think Jimmy beat me by about 10 people, I think. So we're thinking about going back up to Capella and just to reenact that gig again, and just to replicate the passing of 20 years, I suppose. But we'll tour that first album again, mate, which will be a lot of fun. We haven't played those songs for a long time, so I'm really looking forward to that, and just sort of remind everyone of the songs that they. Because I think songs that you remember take you back to that time and place that you were listening to them really hard. So hopefully, with the new album being in the set list, we might be able to have a bit of fun and just celebrate the last 20 years, I suppose.
Yeah, I love the nostalgia of those songs. Any shows near Sydney, mate? We might have to make an appearance, get Toby's dream finally, and we'll have to get in the stands. And
Keen as.
We're doing a gig at Penrith with Thirsty Mer later in the year, so at the Panthers there. So that might be one that might suit.
What date's that?
October, I think. So could be a perfect one.
Yeah, no worries.
Just after the grand final, after we win, so we can rip and tear. How good for Keen as.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. See? Put that one together.
Turn one on. That'd be good stuff.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Mate, well, obviously you have a lot of music stuff. What about away from that? You got your own family. What happens outside of your world? How do you spend time and fill in the gaps?
Yeah, mate. We're really big into the family side of things, mate. We've got all the kids home and that at the moment, which is really good. We sort of I've got two older boys that are 18 months apart, 21 and 20, or 22 and 20 now, and my daughter's 16. And I went on. We always thought we'd have a fourth when we tried after my daughter was a couple of years old and just didn't fall. And then about 12 years later, I went on I'm a Celebrity to get me out of here. And I reckon that the detox might have been a bit more thorough than I thought it was, because as soon as I got home, about 9 months later, I hope I was home anyway. The last little fella turned up. So it's really great, because a lot of the years that my elder boys were Colton's age, he's 4 now, and a lot of the years that when they were that age, I was on the road or overseas doing songwriting trips, or just away in general. So we're on 100 acres up here now, made a bit of bush and back to a bit of farm life again. So in between shows, I'm sort of we're just mucking around with the little things on the farm, and he's got his peewee and all that sort of stuff here, and we're just really enjoying that time, I suppose, that I can remember so vividly with my dad when I was his age on the farm. Going out mustering sheep and falling asleep in the ute, and then waking up and hooying into the sheep again and falling asleep and that sort of thing. So we're having a real good time, mate, just pottering around on the little block. We sort of bought a bit of a fixer-upper, so there's a lot of work here to be done. So we're sort of setting up horse stables and that sort of thing for my wife and my daughter there, right into that side of things. So yeah, lots to be done, mate, but it's actually good to be being able to be home and sort of not just home for 5 minutes and then gone again.
Yeah, it must be nice to spend that quality time, mate. Good on you.
Yeah, absolutely, mate, for sure.
Now, I wanted to ask, you said before you're living in the Shire. That's actually where we're recording from at the moment. I just moved here about 6 weeks ago. How did you manage to get out of God's country and get up to Lismore? Very nice part of the world as well, of course, but how did you find it in your heart to leave this place?
Oh, mate, yeah, I always loved the Shy, you know what I mean? We spent a long time, 15, 16, 18 years there just about at different times, you know, and we didn't really live anywhere else. We in Sydney, you know, so it's always, and got a lot of friends still there now, mate, you know what I mean? But we sort of, like, with the touring side of things, and then, you know, during COVID, I lost, 20 gigs, and we were just in a red zone or something, whatever the hell they used to call it.
Mm.
So I just went, and plus we were talking about getting a bit of acreage in that as well, and down there you're lucky if you can afford to buy a bloody mailbox, just about down in that area at the moment. So we decided to pack up and move, and with the music situation that now you can live really anywhere, mate. It's just a bit more travel. So we sort of decided to get out of the big smoke, and the traffic was sort of getting nightmarish. I think Sienna was 4 kilometres away her school, and it took 45 minutes to get there to pick her up some days.
Wow.
So we sort of got over the traffic and that as well, and then decided to make the move and just up here in the bush, mate, living a quiet life.
Good stuff, mate. Toby's favourite question. Finish it off, mate.
Of course, mate. We asked. This podcast is called Stuck in the Middle for a few reasons. Liam and I are stuck in the middle of the rugby league field that we cherish so much, and also talking a bit about adversity, sort of when you were stuck between a rock and a hard place. When did you feel that you were sort of stuck in your life, and what did you sort of do to come out of that?
Yeah, mate, I went through a bit of a rough patch. We lived just out of Melbourne, 50 k's out of Melbourne in 2012 to 2014, and I was on actually Dance with the Stars, and I injured my back real bad. Herniated the disc, and then had to have a lumpectomy to shave the calcified disc off the nerve, as you guys would know all about that sort of thing. And the doctor sort of said, I ended up getting a bit of a drop foot out of it, which is nerve damage in the foot. So it's like that movement when you're going through the gears, lifting up on a motorbike. So I think that movement sort of was really struggling with. So I sort of came to the realisation that I was never going to be the same, and it was a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, that one. I think it's just a part of getting older now. There's lots of things that aren't the same now. But I felt I was losing ground a little bit, you know what I mean, going a bit backwards and with my mental state. So I just booked a heap of shows, and normally you break them down with cost versus profit with them, but I sort of took a risk on a lot of them, and just to be out working every weekend and back touring and back playing and really helped me through that sort of dark patch, I think. So I just, like I said, booked a 60 show sort of run, and then we just hit the road, and it was just so, I just felt, that a feeling of purpose again after getting out and seeing, all the support that I had out in across the country and that as well. Catching up, just with, people who'd supported me my whole career and that sort of thing. So that really, really sort of jogged me, my mindset out of it, which was really, I was really over the moon about it, because I sort of worked it out one day. I was looking at just out this nice little view we had on the place down in Melbourne, and it just didn't feel the same. And I knew that the view hadn't changed, so I thought, hang on, there's something going on with me then, So I sort of self-diagnosed a little bit, which I was probably really lucky to do, and then just thought I've got to get back on the horse and get back out on the road, and instead of sitting here feeling sorry for myself, I suppose. So I just booked the shows, and then went and smashed them out, and came back with a much more positive look on life, So
just went after it,
just threw it out there and got stuck in, mate. So I always talk to people about that. Bad times are exactly the same as good times. They all come to an end at some stage. So you just got to always remember that's not going to be forever, and that you have the power to change your mindset and change your sense of purpose if you're willing to.
I love that.
Some wise words of Shannon Noll.
Very wise. Yeah, that's awesome, mate.
Yeah. Well, one last thing that I did want to ask. You got your 20-year reunion tour coming up, and I think the question on Australia's mind is: are you going to bring back the Flavour Saver? Because I would love to see it.
Mate, it's got a few grey hairs in it now is a problem, but it might make a comeback one gig along that run, mate. I reckon if we might try and have a little bit of fun, see how we go. But I'll see how I go. I better start massaging and getting it ready, mate.
Chuck some mascara in there, mate. It'll dye it straight black. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I'll just chuck a bit of dye in there, mate. It goes a long way.
You beauty, mate. Hey, look, thank you so much for coming on, Shannon. Really, really appreciate it. You've been, I remember watching Australian Idol Grand Final when I was 8 years old, and speaking to you now is quite a surreal experience for me, mate. So really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah, well, thanks so much.
Awesome, Shannon, mate.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Sorry, mate, I interrupted you then.
Yeah, you're right. All good, boys. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.
Peace. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace.